Welcome friends to another rSlash entitled parents video. Today we've got a crazy story of an entitled parent trying to prevent their kid from going to a funeral. But first, a story from I'm Not Sad, I'm Still Tired. My mom has been trying to get rid of my husband and acting like she's the victim. I, 22-year-old female, have been married to my husband, 37-year-old male, for 4 years. Yes, I married a man in his 30s when I was 18. No, I was not groomed. It was more of a strangers with benefits relationship at first. We didn't really know our ages. We knew that we had an age gap between us, but we didn't know how big it was. When we found out the correct age, I was already pregnant, so we both decided to say, skip it. We made it this far, why not see it to the end? He's big, sweet, adorable, he's amazing with our daughter, and he takes really good care of me. I couldn't have asked for a better husband. My mom hates my husband, but not for the reasons you think. They went to high school together. This town is small as heck, everybody knows everybody. And apparently how she acted back then is the same as how she acts now. She was a spoiled brat that cried when she didn't get her way. Heck, I have a memory of her throwing a tantrum like a child in a mall because my granddad wouldn't buy her the purse she wanted. She used to fight me and my siblings for our grandparents' attention all the time. My mother was in her teens when she had me, but that didn't stop her from controlling my siblings and I. We were her puppets throughout our childhood. Also, she was/is a massive manipulator. That's why my mom hates my husband. She keeps trying to control me and my husband standing in the way of that. It took me watching my mother-in-law interact with my husband and his siblings to realize, oh, so this is how a mother should treat their children. My mom keeps trying to separate me from her. She's been trying everything in the book to get me to leave my husband, from lying about him to making everything that he does towards me a big deal. The lies that my mom told him about my husband range from very hilarious to downright infuriating. One time my mom told me that someone sent her screenshots of my husband's conversation with his supposed mistress. Why would an anonymous person send my mom, his mother-in-law, screenshots of someone else's conversation instead of his wife? Telling me that she overheard my husband said that he didn't love my daughter and I, that he's only using me for sex, which is something that we barely have. She planted small lace underwear underneath the living room couch. When I found it, I didn't immediately blame my husband. My mom wanted me to blame my husband, but I didn't. My mom thanks my husband for being aggressive or controlling with me. My husband is 6'8", 300 pounds, pure muscle, but he's a golden retriever in a human's body. He's a man-child. He's always happy, very energetic, and just a sweetie. My husband loves to pick me and our daughter up and then slam us on the mattress. We think it's fun. Or on a really special occasion, if I'm lying down, he'll come up and lay his full body weight on me. She thinks that a husband shouldn't do such things, that they should treat their families like a delicate flower wrapped up in a pillow. She even told me that he was holding me captive because sometimes he would body block the door frame. I love when my husband acts like that because when he's not acting immature, that means he's stressed or depressed. So when my husband slams us against the mattress, that means he's okay and that's okay with me. Also, food. That my husband is controlling my eating. I'm intolerant to mostly all animal products. My husband realizes that I always get sick when I eat cheese or chicken, so he stops really bringing it into the house. My mom thinks that my husband's controlling my eating because if he really loves you, he would let you eat what you want. He's going to starve you to death. Not minding the fact that my acne cleared up, I don't sound like a baby elephant when I blow my nose in the morning. But no, my husband is starving me and he's definitely not worrying about my health. Then it's the fear-mongering. My husband has a history of violence, and my mom keeps using his history to try to put in fear into me. Like I said above, my parents and my husband went to high school together. My mom told me all the times she witnessed my husband get arrested or be dragged into the principal's office for hurting a kid. My husband was in the same gang with my dad, so he was a violent delinquent. My mom only told me this because she was worried about my safety. I know my husband's past behavior because he told me, and my dad told me all the times that they got into trouble. However, the way my mom described my husband was like her trying to tell me that he is or was a violent man. Like, my husband's going to snap on me any day and kill me and our daughter in our sleep. She told me not to have any more children with him because I would be forever attached to him, and I couldn't leave if it got too violent. My husband never laid his hands on me or our daughter. He doesn't yell at us or any of the sort. My husband got help with these issues in his early 20s. He left the streets and has been happy-go-lucky ever since. Now, you're probably wondering why my mom's in my life when she acts like this. My mom being around me is new, as I lost my dad almost 7 months ago, right after I found out I was pregnant. He was my daddy and my daughter's best friend. I know how crazy my mom is, but I felt like I needed a parent. So I started letting her back in, but only a little bit at a time. Clearly, now it was a mistake. My mom's been trying to control my pregnancy ever since she found out and gets so pissy when my husband stops her weird crap. Then her tactics switched to saying that a mom should do this, to a mom should do that, and back in my day when I was pregnant with you and your sibling, I did such and such. I smoked and drank while I was pregnant with your siblings and they all turned out fine. No, they didn't. Kept telling me that I'm not going to be a real mom if I get a C-section, which likely is going to happen. Now, on to last week, my leg just gave out and I went tumbling down the stairs. It was the worst pain in my life, and I had previously pushed up my daughter's fat head. My mom was freaking out while my husband was trying to find a good way to pick me up without hurting me. Luckily, my daughter was at my mother-in-law's, so I was on the couch in pain, worrying that I might lose my children. My husband went in the room to get his stuff together to take me to the hospital, leaving me alone with my mom. She got evil. She was controlling back in my childhood, but this is the messed up thing she's done to me. She told me to get up and that I should just walk off the pain, that I'm a mother and I need to start powering through. I told her that I couldn't move, that my arm and leg hurt. Then that woman proceeded to grab me by the messed up arm and try to make me stand up. I was on the ground from pain and I couldn't stand up, so she started to basically drag me. I've never seen my husband angry before, but he pushed her away and gave her this terrifying face. He picked me up to take me to the car while my mom was trying to argue with him, so I got to the hospital in excruciating pain while freaking the heck out. My husband eventually had to go back home. When he went back to the house, my mom was still there and tried to pick a fight with him. According to my husband, things got physical because my mom went in great detail of how he's abusing my daughter and I, and that she might not have proof, but she's going to prove it. He almost hit my mom, but he restrained himself and only left a bruise from where he grabbed her. To be honest, I would have slapped the crap out of that woman. I'm back home now and everything's gone to chaos. My mom used the altercation she had with my husband to her benefit, saying that he assaulted her and that my accident wasn't an accident. This is the worst experience I've ever had, mostly because I'm now dealing with flying monkeys, questioning my love for my mom because how can I be okay standing by my husband? I fell down the stairs. I even could have lost my kids and my mom's doing this crap. There's a lot of people who believe my mom's story and a few who don't. I try to talk to people and tell them the truth about what really happened, but they aren't listening to me. Now my husband's being harassed, people calling him a woman beater and a piece of crap. Someone scratched up his car and popped the tires. He's sad, he's trying to act all happy like he usually does, but I know when he's faking a smile. And my daughter's very confused, she doesn't know what's going on. I don't know how to explain why daddy's car is all messed up, or why she's not allowed to see grandma. We haven't left the house, answered our phones, or answered the door because people won't leave us alone. I could have avoided all of this if I just never let that woman back in. This is on me. Now, what have I gone through in the past week? 1. We explained to our daughter in a kid-friendly way what grandma had done and why we can't see her. Grandma had lied about daddy and grandma made daddy and mommy sad. My daughter doesn't really get it, but she's okay with not seeing grandma. 2. The police showed up. They were doing a wellness check because apparently no one's heard from me in a while. Then one of them had the brightest question and asked me why I hadn't called my mother recently. She's worried about me. I haven't called my mother recently because, she's telling everybody and their gosh darn mama that my husband pushed me down the freaking stairs. Then a few days after, they showed up again, but this time with the accusation that my husband is abusing us. To be honest, I snapped. Nothing but angry tears and angry swearing came out of me. I was just so tired that I just wanted to be left alone with my family. 3. I decided to make an internet post telling people that I'm tired of them, family, friends, and flying monkeys harassing my family, attacking my husband, and believing my mother's stupid lies. I get it, they're worried about me and I'm fine with that. But I don't appreciate that they believe my mother and refuse to even listen to me. I just wanted them to stop. They didn't stop. They got worse. However, an hour after I made that post, my grandfather came to talk to me. He told me that he knows his daughter is crazy and he would do anything in his power to make this better. I don't know exactly what my grandfather did, but the mob has stopped. You all don't know how relieved I am. They're still trying to contact me just to talk and have a meeting with me, but now I can cut on my phone without blowing it up with messages. Now, to the reason why I'm making an update, the Wicked Witch of the East finally made an appearance. I have been stuck in this house since I broke my leg. I've been getting tired of being here, so I asked my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they've been taking care of me when my husband goes to work, to take me out. They were hesitant at first, but eventually they popped me and my daughter into the van, and we surprised my husband at work with food. The incident with my husband's car made us realize that our house wasn't safe, so we invested in security. As I was eating tacos with my family, I got a notification from my security, and what do you know, it was my mom. I've been ignoring her calls and text messages, and that's a new deadly sin apparently. My mom started banging on the door with my little sister screaming that she knows I'm in there and that monster, my husband, is trying to take me and her grandbaby away. We were watching my mom throw a tantrum at the front door for a good solid minute because it was funny. But when my sister was ready to throw a rock through our window to get inside our house, that's when we decided to address them. We told them to get off of our property, that I don't want to see my sister and especially not my mom, and that's me talking, not my husband. My mom said, "I'm sorry, baby, please open the door." I told her no, not after everything she did. She lied to everybody and told them that my husband pushed me down the stairs and that my husband assaulted her unprompted. My mother screamed he did assault her and even had the audacity to try to hit her. I said, "That's your fault. Don't blame my husband. What you said was disgusting. And if I was him, I would have witch slapped you." My mother told me that I couldn't talk to her like that she's my mom and her DNA runs through my veins. I told her that my dad's DNA also runs through my veins as well, and his DNA in me wants to beat your face with a sock full of pennies. That caused my mom to go into a frenzy. So we called the cops and told them that there were 2 people at our house. That we already told them to leave, but they refused to. When the police got there, they took my sister and my mom to talk with them for a little bit, and then one cop came up to the house to try to talk to us. We talked to them through the security camera and explained that we don't know those people, like a liar. No matter how much they claim to be my mother and sister, we don't know them. They're strangers. Eventually they left, and we waited for a while to go back home, just in case my family was secretly waiting for me in the shadows or something. My mom did try to go on another social media rant saying that my husband's keeping me captive and crap, but luckily my grandfather shut that down. Update yesterday. The paragraph above happened a few days ago when I tried to post it, but my account wasn't old enough. However, my mom showed back up to the house yesterday. I was asleep when it happened, but my husband, my brother-in-laws, my sister-in-law, and the security camera explained it to me. My in-laws were on the porch when my mom pulled up. She just wanted to see me for sure that I was alive. My brother-in-laws and sister-in-law didn't let her in the house and threatened to call the police. Mom accused them of helping my husband abuse my daughter and I. My husband came out and he started arguing with my mom as well. She kept calling him the usual R-word, abuser, a German World War II soldier. Hey, that one was new. While everyone was distracted, one of my brother-in-laws went inside the house, went through the back door, went around the house, grabbed the garden hose, dragged that to the front, and then proceeded to spray my mother down with the garden hose. My mom tries to get away, but she keeps slipping on the grass. Then my brother-in-law passed the hose to my husband, and then he kept spraying her. My husband chased my mom with the hose right to her car, and he didn't stop spraying. I'm pretty sure he got water in her car. He had the biggest smile during and after the hosing. I bet it felt good. 2 things. First of all, don't you guys agree that OP should immediately be filing for a restraining order? It sucks that they have to do that against their own mom, but they seem unrelenting both on social media and showing up in person. They're probably trying to bait them or try to create some kind of record. You know, one slip up in one thing that isn't deemed like some kind of self-defense, and all of a sudden, who knows, you might catch a charge. And then secondly, can you claim self-defense with that garden hose? Like if somebody walks up to your house and is just being totally disgruntled, causing a scene, and refuses to leave, is it totally justifiable to justify having sprayed them down viciously with a garden hose? Let me know what you guys think on both of those things in the comments down below. And by the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below as well so you never miss any of my daily videos. Our next story is from OneChange072, entitled Parent at the Playground. I was at the playground with my kids, spelling out my son's name with him using the tan bark off the ground. We were working on a small retaining wall on the outskirts of the playground, far from other people, not in the middle of the play set or anything. We got through his first name and we were working on the second when a little kid comes by driving his toy truck through the letters. I give him a smile and asked him not to drive here. He walked away fine and I resumed working with my son. The kid comes our way again, so I put my arm across the space to give a visual barrier and asked him to turn the truck around and drive back the other way now. All smiles. The kid was doing fine as requested. Then a few minutes later, he comes back with a second little kid and his dad following along as well. Same thing happens except when he gets to my arm, the barrier in his path, and I ask him to turn and drive the other way, he ignores my request and instead smashes the truck into the middle of where we're working. I gently but quickly moved his arm away and moved in front of him while telling him, "Please don't drive your truck here, we're working on something, and you're being rude." The dad explodes. "You watch your language. How dare you talk to a child like that? You watch your freaking language." Surprised and starting to shake because this dad is apparently a crazy man, I try to assume the best and say, "Oh, I was just asking him not to drive here because I'm helping my son write his name with the wood chips. He doesn't know any better. He's 2. He doesn't know what he's doing." Very confused and unsure of what we're supposed to do at this point, I say, "Oh, I think he does know. He listened when I asked him before." The guy gets in my face and bellows, "You watch your freaking language. There are children at this park. You need to watch your language." Genuinely terrified and confused, I take my now crying son and we leave the park. Only after leaving did I think that calling the police would have been an appropriate course of action. You know, as much as this dad said that, "Oh, he's 2, he doesn't know what he's doing," I don't think whatever was going on with the dad that they were too far removed from not knowing what they were doing themselves. Whether or not calling the police might have been a good decision, I think OP honestly, as much as it sucks to concede, made the right decision in just getting them and their kid away from that guy. I mean, you can try calling the cops all you want, but sometimes cops aren't that snappy anyways. Best just to get away from somebody like that. Our next story is from Wolfstorm993. During my early childhood, I lived in fear of screwing up because my narcissistic dad would give a way too harsh punishment. My very early childhood, when I lived in Tennessee, was great. No school, a lake beside our house, and no worries. Sure, I got in trouble now and then, but the punishments weren't too harsh. We moved to North Carolina in 2014 or 2015. I was very happy there until something changed. My dad kept getting more strict to the point where I got a yellow. He was like in 2nd grade, so we had a clip chart on his birthday. He proceeded to throw all my Lego things into the yard, including the Lego table I had, which he broke. I had to pick up my Lego things almost every day, and I bet you I could still find a lost Lego piece there. After that incident, these harsh punishments began to take a serious toll on my mental health. I began to throw tantrums at school when I got in trouble, in fear of having to do whatever the freak my dad would make me do, whatever sick thing he had in his mind. In turn, my mental health just got worse and worse, in this never-ending cycle I couldn't break out of. That meant I began to get in more trouble. I began to have to run up and down the driveway and stuff like that. My dad even tried to send me to boot camp. However, things began to take a toll on my mom. They would fight and my dad would constantly lie about my mom, to the point where I began to believe my mom was the problem. This wasn't true, of course, but it got to the point where she wanted to leave. She recently told me that she would have brought me with her if I wasn't under my dad's trance. She eventually did leave for days at a time, and then she left for a longer time, I can't remember how long, which my dad immediately moved in with a friend he knew named Dustin. I figure he knew that I was clearly being mentally and physically tortured, but didn't want to tell me in fear of me telling my dad and my dad kicking him out. Dustin was homeless at the time. After a while, he moved in Kelly, a nice woman with small mental health issues. I think my dad and her were dating. She probably knew the same thing Dustin knew. I had to have supervised visits with my mom. I would get punished even worse, leading up to a Hot Wheels set leaving a hole in my wall because of my dad. Sometime later, my dad climbed 40 feet up a tree trying to impress Kelly, but fell, and it took a year for him to recover. He then started making me rake the yard for multiple hours at a time. I'm talking 6 hours, and one day it was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I covered myself in coats and blankets, and then Kelly came home, but didn't mention it to my dad, and he let me in. Kelly eventually went freaking nuclear on my dad and left because of the way he was treating me, which led to me and my dad being alone. These were better times, except for when my mom did come home and then left again because they fought each other. Things remained the same, me raking sometimes, and not much happened. Until September 2020, the month my life changed forever. It started normal. I was doing virtual schooling and using Google Earth. My dad came in and caught the sudden motion of me closing a tab, and I proceeded to lie that I wasn't on Google Earth, but I eventually told the truth. So he decided to make me run all the way around the backyard, which is big, for an amount of time that I think was an hour, but I'm not sure. Eventually, I couldn't take it, so I let him know, and he got mad at me and told me to keep running or he would spank me. Sometime later, he had to go pick up a paycheck, but missed getting the paycheck according to him, so he got even madder and threatened to leave me on the side of the road. We went home and he made me run up and down my very steep driveway. I began to get tired, so he chased me, hitting me with a belt as I ran. I couldn't outrun him, and then the belt wrapped around my waist and hit me right in the privates. I screamed at the top of my lungs until Andy, the man I cannot thank enough for saving me from what would have become torture for the rest of my life, or me being gone, came down the driveway with a knife and gun on his belt and proceeded to yell at my dad and call the police. I ended up being in foster care for 10 months, but I'm with my mom in Tennessee now. Earlier this year, me and my dad had a major falling out after I cursed at him and screamed at him about everything he did that could have driven me to being gone over Messenger. I'm home safe with my mom, her awesome fiance named Brad, and my mama. To Cooper or Zion, if you're reading this, I'm safe now. I feel bad that OP had to experience all this, and I'm glad that they're in a situation now where it sounds like they have people who genuinely care about them, or at the very least, aren't abusing OP the way that their father did. And honestly, bless this guy Andy for stepping in when, let's be real, maybe a lot of people in that situation, although they see some serious stuff going on, might be afraid or might not want to insert themselves into that drama. Andy might have just about saved a life here. Our next story is from Confuzzled Green Bean. My entitled dad didn't want me to go to my friend's funeral. So this happened a long time ago, back when I was in the 8th grade, 14 years old, currently in 11th grade. Anyways, so back in 6th or 8th grade, I had this one friend, I'll call her C. She was always sweet and constantly thinking about others and the environment. In 7th grade, she was diagnosed with cancer. She went into a remission at the end of 7th grade and was cancer-free for about 4 months before they found a new group of cancer. I hadn't heard from her in a while, but was still in contact with our mutual friends. It was a Tuesday when I got a call from my friend A. She was with a group of my friends when she told me that C had passed. At first, I didn't believe her and told her to stop joking around. Finally, it hit me that she was actually gone, but by that point, I had to go to school. I cried through my entire first hour and second hour. I felt numb for the rest of the day. When I got home, I told my parents I wanted to go to the funeral. My mom was pretty supportive. She didn't want me to miss school, but she knew how much I wanted to be there for my friends and how I needed closure. My entitled dad, on the other hand, said that school was more important and that I shouldn't go unless I needed to. I told him not only did I need to go, but I wanted to be there for my friends. He grumbled and said that it wasn't that big of a deal and that missing school would mess me up. Side note, a distant family member, not my grandma but my cousins, had just passed, and my mom had suffered a miscarriage. The day of the funeral, he asked me in the morning if I was absolutely sure that I wanted to miss school for this. I ignored him mostly. I went and cried with my friends. I'm glad I went there because I ended up making amends with an old friend and was able to help another friend who started having a panic attack. It helped most of us get a lot closer than we had been. My entitled dad still grumbled about me missing school, but my teachers were understanding and gave me extensions. This is by far and large one of those situations where it is totally acceptable to miss work, to miss school, to miss almost anything. I don't know if OP's father is emotionally stunted or just a cold person, but it's really disappointing to me that they can't understand the seriousness of the situation and how it's so much bigger than just whether or not you miss a day of school. And our final story of the day is from 7 Billionth Journey. My mom is financially abusive, and I have no idea how to deal with it. So we came from a poor family, but these past few years, my mom and dad, my 2 other siblings, 16-year-old female, 18-year-old female, and myself, 18-year-old female, have been working and been getting really good pay. The highest we're getting paid in total was $3,000 per week. My mom had a blacklisted credit card and therefore really bad credit, so she relies on my dad, who begrudgingly gets loans or even takes his phone to get one in secret. It's just an endless cycle of debt. Us girls are never able to save money to buy things like cars or even to move out. I remember the time I refused to give money when my mom and dad earned $1,000 each, and my mom said I'd rather crash this car and die, we were driving to my work, than beg money from you. Moving on to now, my mom's been job hopping and quit a $29 per hour job. My dad lost his job this week, and I've been out of work to finish year 12, but just got a job offer to start by the end of the month. My mom discovered Afterpay, Open Pay, and all that stuff, and no matter how many times she promises to stop, she will not. She uses government money and our money to pay for it, and it's driving me nuts. My sister, 18-year-old female, works full-time on low pay and gives 3/4 of her pay to my mom, about $700 to $1,000, who manipulates her and basically holds her down from ever being able to leave the house. Tell me, what in the Reddit do I do? This is one of those situations where you make sure you have your own bank accounts. OP clarified in the comments they do, but their mom just keeps demanding. The bottom line is you have to put your foot down, and no matter how intense it gets or how scary it gets, you've got to hold up that simple statement, no. She is not entitled to your money, you don't have to give it to her, and no amount of "I'm your mother, I raised you, I brought you into this world, you would be nothing without me" makes them automatically entitled to any of it regardless. Put your foot down and be unrelenting in maintaining that your money that you earned yourself is in no way belonging to her at all. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy entitled parent story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out the video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.